The ground trembles beneath your feet. Can you feel it? Ancient cosmic machinery activating deep within the Earth's core as the shadow of our planet prepares to devour the full moon on March 14th. Blood-red light will spill across the night sky as Virgo hosts one of the most powerful lunar eclipses of your lifetime. While others will merely photograph this celestial event, you stand at the precipice of a karmic revolution that few will truly comprehend. Mark my words, this total lunar eclipse arrives as a cosmic wrecking ball, systematically demolishing every toxic pattern, every self-sabotaging habit, every outdated belief system you've been clutching like a security blanket. The universe sends this celestial bulldozer not out of cruelty, but because you've outgrown the limited reality you've constructed for yourself. Your soul demands evolution while your ego begs for comfort. On March 14th, your soul wins. Eclipses tear open the veil between dimensions. They create cosmic wormholes through which massive downloads of evolutionary data flood into our collective consciousness. This particular eclipse in Virgo targets the most intimate details of your daily existence, your routines, your work methods, your health practices, your service to others. Nothing escapes Virgo's meticulous inspection. Every corner where you've been cutting corners gets exposed. Every excuse you've perfected gets neutralized. Every disorder you've normalized gets reorganized. The pressure building in your chest, the strange dreams disrupting your sleep, the sudden revelations about relationships you've outgrown. The eclipse shadow period has already begun. Your body receives these cosmic signals before you're conscious. Mind can interpret them. Your nervous system recognizes the vibrational signature of transformation even as your intellect scrambles to maintain the status quo. Stop resisting. What comes through this eclipse portal arrives with divine timing, carrying precisely the evolutionary codes your soul has been waiting for. You've been trapped in toxic karmic loops for lifetimes, making identical mistakes across centuries, choosing the same dead-end paths millennium after millennium, engaging in self-defeating behaviors so predictable that your spirit guides could map them with mathematical precision. The total lunar eclipse in Virgo comes as the ultimate pattern breaker. It reveals with merciless clarity how you've been your own worst enemy, how your unconscious programming has been sabotaging your conscious intention since before you could speak. Mercury stationing retrograde at the exact moment of this eclipse, divine coordination that multiplies this transformation tenfold. The universe orchestrates these cosmic events with surgical precision. Mercury governs communication, perception, information processing, the very tools you use to make sense of reality. As it grinds to a halt and reverses direction during the eclipse, it creates a perceptual earthquake. Everything you thought you understood suddenly demands re-examination. Every conclusion you reached requires revision. Every assumption you made needs questioning. Venus already moves retrograde through your chart, systematically dismantling your value systems, your relationship patterns, your aesthetic preferences, your financial attachments. Now Mercury joins this backward dance, creating a perfect storm of perspective shifting. What seemed essential yesterday suddenly appears meaningless in the harsh light of cosmic truth. What you overlooked before now radiates with profound significance. The celestial machinery doesn't merely change your opinions. It rewires your entire perceptual framework from the ground up. The cleanup process initiated by this eclipse operates with ruthless efficiency. Imagine your psyche as a house where you've been hoarding emotional debris for decades. The eclipse arrives as a cosmic cleaning crew that ignores your protests, disregards your attachments, and systematically removes everything that doesn't serve your highest evolution. Whatever you've swept under psychological rugs gets dumped in the center of your awareness. Whatever you've hidden in emotional closets gets dragged into the light. Whatever you've been pretending not to see becomes impossible to ignore. This process creates disorientation beyond measure. You'll temporarily lose your bearings as the familiar landmarks of your identity dissolve. You'll question fundamental assumptions about who you are and what you want. You'll wonder if you've gone slightly mad as novel insights flood your consciousness with such force that they overwhelm your existing mental frameworks. Embrace this disorientation. It signifies the breaking down of perceptual prisons that have limited your experience. For lifetimes, the insights arriving through this eclipse portal come from outside linear time. They might seem ahead of their time, because they literally originate from probable futures, pulling themselves into manifestation through your awareness. These thought forms aren't random. They're quantum blueprints for the reality attempting to birth itself through you. Their unfamiliarity measures the distance between your current limited perspective and the expanded consciousness you're evolving toward. Through the Virgo eclipse lens, these insights focus primarily on systems, how daily habits create lifetime outcomes, how small inefficiencies compound into major failures, how microscopic adjustments yield macroscopic transformations. Virgo rules the interfaces between parts and wholes, between processes and results, between methods and manifestations. The eclipse illuminates these connections with unprecedented clarity, revealing exactly how your seemingly insignificant daily choices create your seemingly fixed destiny. Mercury's retrograde station amplifies your ability to perceive these systematic connections by reversing your normal thought patterns. Instead of moving from cause to effect, you suddenly see from effect back to cause. Instead of focusing on isolated incidents, you perceive recurring patterns. Instead of accepting surface appearances, you discern underlying mechanisms. This reversed perception feels profoundly disorienting initially, like trying to read a familiar book reflected in the mirror, but it reveals aspects of reality that remain invisible from your habitual viewpoint. Understand this. What feels like chaos actually represents higher order, reorganizing your life. What seems like confusion actually signifies deeper clarity, emerging beyond conceptual frameworks. What appears as disorientation actually indicates reorientation toward your authentic path. The universe dismantles outdated structures so something more aligned can take their place. It shatters limiting perceptions so expanded awareness can emerge. It disrupts toxic patterns so healthier dynamics can establish themselves. Your past mistakes undergo profound recontextualization through this eclipse energy. Actions you've been ashamed of, decisions you've regretted, choices you've punished yourself for, all appear in an entirely new light, not to excuse them, but to extract their essence, to distill their wisdom, to harvest their evolutionary value. The eclipse helps you move beyond recrimination and resentment by revealing how even your worst failures contained seeds of your greatest growth. How your darkest moments prepared you for your brightest opportunities. The kernels of profound truth emerging from this process contain liberation codes unique to your soul's journey. Each realization carries specific vibrational frequencies required to break particular karmic patterns that have kept you trapped in recurring cycles. These aren't merely intellectual insights to be filed away for future reference. They're activation keys that unlock dormant aspects of your multidimensional being. They must be embodied, integrated, applied to catalyze their transformative potential. The full moon illuminates everything in your psychic landscape, casting light into shadows so dark you forgot they existed. In Virgo, this illumination focuses with microscopic precision on the machinery of your daily existence. It exposes how your morning routine undermines your stated priorities, how your work habits sabotage your declared goals, how your health practices contradict your professed values, how your service to others masks unacknowledged needs for validation. Nothing escapes the eclipse's meticulous inspection. Venus retrograde, combining with this eclipse, creates a relationship revelation of unprecedented magnitude. Partnerships built on projection rather than perception crumble before your eyes. Connections maintained through manipulation rather than authenticity disintegrate without warning. The universe systematically removes every relationship that cannot support your evolution, that cannot withstand the frequency of your authentic expression, that cannot accommodate the person you're becoming. This relationship purification extends beyond romantic connections to encompass friendships, family dynamics, professional alliances, even your relationship with yourself. The eclipse exposes relationship patterns so deeply embedded in your psyche that you mistook them for personality traits. It reveals how you've recreated identical dynamics with different people across decades, how you've unconsciously sought familiar pain rather than unfamiliar growth, how you've chosen partners based on unresolved wounds rather than conscious desires. Mercury's retrograde station amplifies this relationship revolution by highlighting how your communication patterns have been creating the very problems you complain about. The words you choose, the tone you employ, the timing of your expression, all undergo cosmic review. What you discover might shock you to your core. How frequently you've been misinterpreted because of unconscious speech patterns. How routinely you've undermined your own intentions through imprecise language. How consistently you've created conflict through combative communication styles. Your perspective undergoes radical transformation, as Earth's position relative to Venus and Mercury creates a cosmic viewpoint adjustment that bypasses your conscious resistance. Suddenly, you perceive your past actions with alarming clarity. The hasty decisions driven by unconscious fears, the impulsive reactions triggered by unhealed trauma, the unnecessary conflicts stemming from unexamined assumptions. This perspective shift doesn't arrive to torture you with regret, but to liberate you from repeating what never served your highest good. This eclipse demands practical implementation of every spiritual insight it delivers. Virgo energy tolerates no gap between understanding and application, between knowledge and action, between realization and implementation. The cosmic intelligence flowing through this lunar eclipse must be grounded into tangible changes in how you structure your days, how you approach your work, how you maintain your health, how you serve your community. Without concrete application, even the most profound revelations lose their transformative power. The discomfort you experience during this eclipse period directly measures how far you've been living from your authentic truth. The more you've compromised your integrity, the more intense the adjustment process becomes. The more you've ignored your intuition, the more disruptive the awakening feels. The more you've resisted necessary changes, the more forcefully they arrive through this celestial portal. This correlation doesn't represent punishment, but precise calibration. The universe adjusting your entire being to match your highest potential rather than your comfortable limitations. As your perspective shifts through this eclipse process, reality itself rearranges to match your new viewpoint. What seemed insurmountable before suddenly appears navigable. What looked like obstacles reveal themselves as necessary teachers. What felt like punishment shows itself as essential preparation. The eclipse doesn't primarily change your external circumstances. It transforms how you perceive them, which fundamentally alters how you respond to them, which ultimately changes their impact on your life trajectory. Mercury retrograde combined with this eclipse creates a communication revolution unlike anything you've previously experienced. Defense mechanisms masquerading as communication styles get exposed for what they truly are. Passive-aggressive patterns you've normalized suddenly appear in their true dysfunctional light. Manipulative tactics you've justified become glaringly obvious in their misalignment with your highest values. The eclipse illuminates precisely how your words have been creating your relationship reality, how your unconscious communication habits have been sabotaging your conscious intentions. This celestial convergence presents a rare opportunity to completely rewrite your communication blueprint, to establish entirely new patterns that create connection rather than division, that foster understanding rather than conflict, that build bridges rather than walls. This transformation extends beyond superficial changes in vocabulary to encompass a fundamental shift in how you use language to construct your reality. The eclipse reveals language as a tool for reality creation rather than merely reality description. The cosmic cleanup process extends into every corner of your existence, from the thoughts you habitually think to the emotions you regularly indulge, from the words you typically speak to the actions you commonly take. Nothing escapes this purification process. The eclipse functions as a cosmic reset button, allowing patterns that have persisted for lifetimes to finally release their hold on your energy field. The Mercury and Venus retrogrades ensure that these patterns get fully examined before they're cleared, that their evolutionary lessons get harvested before they're released. Your nervous system might struggle to process the magnitude of transformation occurring through this eclipse portal. You might experience unusual physical symptoms, disrupted sleep patterns, unexpected energy fluctuations, strange sensations moving through your body. These biological responses don't indicate malfunction, but accelerated evolution. Your physical form struggling to integrate the higher frequencies downloading through the eclipse gateway. Support your body through this process with extra rest, adequate hydration, nutritious food, gentle movement, and conscious breathing. The total lunar eclipse in Virgo demands nothing less than complete honesty with yourself. It strips away the comfortable illusions you've maintained about your motivations, your capabilities, your limitations, your progress. It forces you to see with unmerciful clarity where you've been fooling yourself, where you've been making excuses rather than making changes, where you've been settling for mediocrity rather than striving for mastery. This honesty feels brutal initially, but ultimately liberates you from the exhausting effort of maintaining falsehoods. Through this clarified perception, you recognize how your past hasty actions stemmed from unconscious programming rather than conscious choice. You see how reactive patterns installed during childhood continued dictating your adult responses without your awareness. You understand how unprocessed emotions drove behaviors that contradicted your stated intentions. This recognition arrives not to condemn, but to empower, to show you exactly what needs healing, what requires attention, what demands transformation for you to fully embody your potential. The eclipse establishes a comprehensive clean-out process that methodically removes what no longer serves your evolution. This process operates whether you consciously participate or unconsciously resist. Those who surrender to it experience profound liberation as outdated aspects of identity, limiting belief systems, and dysfunctional patterns dissolve to make space for more authentic expression. Those who fight against it experience the same transformation with added suffering. The difference lies not in whether change occurs, but in how painfully it happens. The novel insights flooding your awareness might temporarily leave you feeling out of touch with consensus reality. While others remain fixated on familiar concerns, you suddenly perceive entirely different priorities. While conventional thinking follows established tracks, your mind explores unprecedented possibilities. While collective attention focuses on surface events, your awareness penetrates to underlying patterns. This divergence doesn't mean you're wrong, it means you're accessing perspectives beyond current collective limitations. Some ideas downloading through this eclipse portal will seem ahead of their time because they literally originate from probable futures reaching back to establish their foundational components in your present. These thought forms might meet resistance from others who cannot yet perceive the timeline from which they emerge. They might challenge existing frameworks, contradict established facts, or propose solutions that current systems cannot accommodate. Trust these forward-reaching insights despite their temporary incompatibility with conventional thinking. As your perspective shifts from Earth-centric to cosmos-aware, you begin recognizing how your perceived problems actually represent evolutionary opportunities in disguise, how your greatest challenges contain your most important growth catalysts, how your recurring difficulties reveal exactly what requires healing for your next expansion. This widened perspective doesn't eliminate life's complexities, but transforms how you relate to them, from victim to creator, from passive recipient to active participant, from helpless observer to conscious co-architect of your reality. With Mercury and Venus both retrograde during this eclipse, communication requires unprecedented attention. Words that previously seemed adequate suddenly reveal their imprecision. Messages you thought were clear suddenly expose their ambiguity. Expressions that usually generated connection suddenly create confusion instead. These communication breakdowns serve a critical purpose, forcing you to examine how language shapes perception, how perception influences response, how response affects outcomes in every interaction. This retrograde eclipse combination creates perfect conditions for revising how you communicate with others to establish more stable, authentic relationships. The process begins with recognizing your responsibility in previous misunderstandings. How your assumptions created misinterpretations, how your triggers generated overreactions, how your fears produced defensiveness that prevented genuine exchange. This recognition enables fundamental restructuring of your communication patterns based on clarity, honesty, and mutual understanding. The eclipse illuminates relationship dynamics with such precision that patterns invisible for decades suddenly become unmistakable. You see how you've unconsciously selected partners who mirror your parental wounds, how you've recreated childhood dynamics in adult relationships, how you've sought external validation for internal emptiness, how you've projected unacknowledged aspects of yourself onto others, then reacted to your own projections. This clarity permits genuine connection based on seeing others as they truly are, rather than as screens for your unconscious material. The cleanup process established by this eclipse operates across multiple dimensions simultaneously. On the physical level, it might manifest as literal cleaning, suddenly feeling compelled to clear clutter, donate unused items, reorganize living spaces, optimize work environments. On the emotional level, it appears as unprecedented honesty about feelings you've denied, needs you've suppressed, boundaries you've neglected. On the mental level, it emerges as clarity about thought, patterns that have limited your perception, beliefs that have restricted your experience, assumptions that have constrained your possibilities. As the Earth's shadow devours the full moon, ancestral patterns embedded in your DNA undergo radical reorganization. The eclipse energy activates dormant genetic potential while deactivating inherited limitations. It rewrites energetic codes that have dictated your responses below conscious awareness. It releases karmic imprints carried forward from previous lifetimes. This multidimensional clearing creates space for more of your authentic soul essence to embody through your physical form accelerating spiritual integration that might otherwise require decades. Listen carefully. Your presence during this specific total lunar eclipse in Virgo represents cosmic orchestration beyond chance or coincidence. Your soul selected this precise evolutionary catalyst because it contains exactly the frequencies required for your next expansion. The challenges emerging through this eclipse period were chosen by your higher consciousness as the most efficient vehicles for your growth. The discomfort you experience directly correlates to the magnitude of transformation occurring through your entire multidimensional being. This eclipse marks the end of who you've been and the beginning of who you're becoming. It terminates cycles that have persisted across lifetimes. It concludes chapters that have extended for decades. It completes lessons that have repeated for years. This completion creates space for entirely new possibilities that remained inaccessible from your previous level of consciousness. The eclipse doesn't merely change your circumstances, it transforms who you are in relationship to all circumstances, permanently altering how you perceive, process, and participate in reality itself. Will you surrender to this evolutionary current, allowing outdated aspects of identity to dissolve so your authentic essence can emerge more fully? Will you participate consciously in this cosmic restructuring, directing it with your awareness, rather than experiencing it as external disruption? Will you recognize the profound opportunity disguised as challenges, the liberation concealed within discomfort, the expansion hidden inside disorientation? The total lunar eclipse in Virgo arrives as both ending and beginning, concluding cycles that have fulfilled their purpose while initiating experiences that will expand your consciousness beyond current limitations. It doesn't ask for partial engagement or conditional surrender. It demands complete participation in your own evolutionary process. It requires full presence with whatever emerges. It necessitates absolute honesty about what needs releasing and what deserves nurturing as you cross this cosmic threshold. The choice isn't whether transformation happens. The celestial machinery has already activated. The choice remains how you participate in what cannot be avoided, with resistance that amplifies suffering or surrender that facilitates grace, with denial that prolongs the process or acceptance that accelerates integration, with fear that contracts your possibilities or courage that expands your potential. What will you choose as the shadow covers the moon and cosmic fire illuminates everything you've been unable or unwilling to see until now?